So good morning and welcome to Learn Live with Gatwick Airport. Delighted to be joined live by the guys at the Duty Free team here at Gatwick Airport. Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
Morning.
Good morning. Before we come to sort of see who's joining us this morning, I just want to say good morning to the schools and thank you for joining us for this live broadcast. Don't remember to leave your questions for the team and we'll do our best to get those answers to you during the course of the next sort of 15 minutes or so. So, who we got on the call today? Good morning to Andy and Jess. I'm going to start with Andy. Good morning, Andy.
Hi, everyone.
Could you just tell us briefly what you do there, your title, and a little bit about the role that you're in? Thank you.
Sure. So, hi, everyone. I'm Andy. I'm the store manager. I'm working for Gatwick Airport. I look after the staff terminal. So I look after the for the duty free store, primarily sells beauty products, liquor, tobacco, confectionery, and some luxury goods. That's my role. And as a store manager, I'm responsible for the overall running of the shop.
Thank you, Andy. Jess, just tell us briefly what you do as well, please.
Yeah, sure. Good morning, everyone. So my name's Jess. I'm the Senior Retail Performance Manager working for Gatwick Airport. So my role is to manage the relationship of all the shops and restaurants at Gatwick. We have about 140 shops and restaurants in total, and Duty Free being our biggest contract and our biggest retail partner, if you like. My role very much is to make sure that the retailers have everything that they need to succeed at Gatwick Airport, and also myself and my team will manage performance through customer service, stock availability, and anything else really that drives the numbers and the success of the retail and catering at Gatwick.
Brilliant. Andy, we just talked off air before about duty free. I just want to, because obviously it's a term that a lot of people understand the sense of the name duty free, but what actually is it? I mean, what's the difference between that and going to a regular store on the high street to buy the same goods?
Okay, so duty free we offer all products you can get on the high street, but at more competitive prices than you will see in the airport than on the high street. So it's great products, and hopefully you'll get great service in our stores and great prices.
Yeah, brilliant. So just going back to Jess, your point about on the video what we saw earlier about how you started your career in retail, and you started quite early, didn't you? I'm just fascinated by that because you're still in retail. But tell us how has that experience helped you? So, I mean, you started in retail part time, didn't you? At quite a young age. Just tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, I did. I think I was about 14. I got my first part-time job at the weekends in a local shop. And as I sort of got a bit older and went to college and I had a couple of extra days, I gradually kind of built up my hours. And then the owner of the company actually offered me a store manager role at quite a young age. So certainly starting really young really gave me a good kind of insight into retail, and gave me a lot of really good opportunities. I was able to buy stock. It's very different to these days. It's all on the phone or trips to London to go and choose stock, nothing online at that point. But certainly gave me a really good start and has certainly helped me to progress into more senior roles at quite a young age and then progress into this current role. So, yeah, certainly starting very young, I think was very useful.
And what attracted you to retail? You know, even at the age of 14, as you say, what did you sort of like it straight away? And what was good about it? I suppose from your point of view, what job satisfaction were you getting?
I think, if I'm honest, when I was 14, I was just looking for a job, and I probably at that stage wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to do. And then I think for me, just working within retail, I really quickly realised that I was actually quite good at the buying and the selling, and I enjoyed spending time with customers, and I was receiving really good feedback, and I was kind of getting promoted quite quickly. So I realised quite soon on that it was something that I could do, and that I picked up really quickly and that I enjoyed doing. So I just made a decision quite early on to stay within that sector. And I think at the age of about 19, I then moved into supermarkets and progressed into store management of supermarkets at that point.
Great. And when did you actually then find the role that you're in now? I mean, how did that happen, and what did you have to do when you applied to be successful?
So I've probably worked actually in retail now for, gosh, I'm giving my age away, 25 years. So when I joined Gatwick Airport, I had a significant amount of high street experience. I'd worked in various different roles within various different retailers, including, as I've said, supermarkets and HMV and fashion. And so coming to a role like this at Gatwick, that sort of experience was really beneficial because it's such a variety of shops and restaurants at Gatwick. I'd also had some coffee shop experience within supermarkets. So having kind of a broad understanding and being kind of commercially minded of what's happening on the high street, the changes in trends, and understanding how you need to evolve is really important. And I think having that experience in different types of retail, I think, was really beneficial to me getting this role. And I'd done various other customer service roles within Gatwick Airport as well, which allowed me to kind of come to this role with both the experience that Gatwick were looking for in terms of customer service experience, and also with that retail background as well.
Great. And just to answer actually one of the questions we had in earlier about the differences, I mean, from your experience of working in supermarkets and HMV and that kind of retail, what was the differences, and what are the differences between that and working in retail at the airport? Is there any?
Yeah, there's loads actually. It's completely different in the airport. It's really exciting every day. I think, on the high street, certainly the retailers that I worked with would spend their whole year gearing up for Christmas, and you'd have kind of a really big 3 months from sort of mid-October to mid-January where you would take probably 80 to 90% of your sales for the whole year. In the airport, we joke, but it's true, every day is Christmas Eve because every day is really busy. I think on the quietest day of the year, each terminal will see about 18,000 passengers coming through, and that's 18,000 passengers that will walk through Andy's store. So it's constantly busy. It's changing all the time because you have different types of airlines coming in, which brings different types of passengers from all around the world, which brings exciting new opportunities with different brands that really appeal to those passengers. And it's about understanding their needs and being able to adapt and change to maximise the opportunity, really, and to give the passengers the best possible experience. But it's also not a 9 to 5 in the airport. So very much on the high street, you open your doors at 9, you close at 5:30 or 6. Whereas here, most of our shops are open by 4 a.m. And most of them trade till 10. And actually, some of the food and beverage shops are 24 hours because there's staff here all night. We have 30,000 staff that work across Gatwick Airport, across the various different parts of the Gatwick family. And a lot of those people will work all night. So it's important that we are able to offer something for staff overnight as well.
No, that's a really interesting point, and something I didn't realise. So thanks for sharing that with us this morning, Jess. What we're going to do is we're just going to remind people what you guys do. We're going to play the video that we played earlier, just in case anyone missed it, because I've had a few people join us since we went live. So we're going to play that again, and then we're going to come back and we're going to speak more to Andy, if that's okay. So I'm just going to play this video again, a couple of minutes, guys, and then we'll come back live to the team at Gatwick Airport.
So my name's Jess and I'm the Senior Retail Performance Manager at Gatwick Airport.
I'm Andy, I'm the Store Manager for World Duty Free at Gatwick South.
So one of the most important parts of my role is working with our retail and catering partners to ensure that they have everything they need to succeed at Gatwick Airport. I spend a lot of time with the store managers walking around their stores, making sure that we have the right product in the right place at the right time.
So really, there is no typical day for me. 1 minute I might be identifying problems that I need to fix on the shop floor. Other times I might be working with brands to create great service opportunities that will excite my customer.
The skills required to do my role are a really good understanding of numbers, so maths is really beneficial. Another really important skill is working in a team. It's also really beneficial to have language skills, so if you can learn another language or multiple languages, that's always really beneficial at Gatwick Airport.
So I started working for World Duty Free 14 years ago as a trading manager. I then got promoted to a store manager, which means I'd have total responsibility for the store and all the people within it.
So to work within the performance team at Gatwick Airport, all of my team have got a lot of store management experience, whether that be catering or retail. It's really important that you understand how a team works well together, that you have a good understanding of numbers, and that you want to put the passenger first, because that's ultimately the most important thing. My advice to you, if you'd like to get into this kind of role at Gatwick Airport, would be to get as much experience as you can now. I worked from the age of about 14 in retail part-time, so all that experience becomes really beneficial when you start to go for full-time jobs.
I love my role at Gatwick because it gives me the opportunity to enhance every customer's experience.
I'd say there's no typical day at Gatwick Airport, every day is different, and I think that's one of the reasons why I love working here.
We're back live at Gatwick Airport. We've still got Jess and Andy with us this morning. We've just seen a video there, Andy, of the work you do there at the airport. So just really fascinating about the different organisations that come through and manage, that you manage on a day-to-day basis. That sounds like a huge job. How do you get through each day?
That's a very good question, Stuart. I suppose each day is really different, so you can't apply one logic to your whole day. You plan it as much as you can, but ultimately you've got to go with the flow and make sure you prioritise really well what's important on the day. So one part of the day might be, your focus is to drive how we're going to drive sales or how we're going to improve performance. Other times we might be thinking about our teams and how we're going to get the best out of our teams. How are we going to develop the teams? How can they grow? Other times it might be about activity for the customer. So I think broadly you can't pigeonhole everything. You're just going to have to go with the flow on it.
And your sort of customer base, it's very transitional, isn't it? I mean, in the high street, you probably get to see some familiar faces coming in, and they get to know you. You don't really have that, really, do you, in the airport? Every day is different in many senses, including your customer base.
Yeah, I think you're right. So we do say that we see repeat customers because there's a lot of business passengers that still fly through regularly through the airport. But you're right, Gatwick is a family airport, so a lot of holiday destinations, and therefore you see the passengers once or twice a year. I would like to say we remember every single customer or passenger that's travelling through, but realistically, it'll be the first experience for them. But they will also have lots of experience of Gatwick Airport and World Duty Free. So my role is to make sure that they have the best experience coming through every time.
So for a young person who's thinking of applying, what they may be thinking about now is the challenges of different languages that you may encounter coming through the airport, because you are an international airport. You're not expected to assume to know multiple languages. So what's the process for someone that you maybe don't quite understand? How can you get around that problem?
Yeah, so we were talking about this earlier, and languages are beneficial. So I can't deny it. If you're studying French or German at school, will really help. But it's not essential. Jess and I, we like to think we can speak different languages, but truthfully, we don't. So it's a benefit, and it's an add-on that you can do it. So if you do choose to take your languages onto A level, that will be incredibly beneficial. A lot for us as well. Anybody that can speak Mandarin is a massive plus for us, because that language is essential for our Chinese passengers, and the Gatwick Airport is trying to grow the number of flights to China as well. So those sorts of languages which are probably not typically taught in school, they're really beneficial as well.
So we talked to Jess earlier, didn't we, about her journey in. Can you just tell us how you got to this point? I mean, did you have a similar journey? Like, you got more experience with retail first? Just tell us about that, please.
Yeah, so I started as a management trainee a department store called Alders, and that was about 25 years ago as well. So I did a training course there, coming fresh out of school at the age of 18. It was a 2-year course, and got promoted to a supervisor at the end of that course. I got then promoted to an assistant manager, and sort of built up my career within the department store environment. I ended up leaving that job as a floor controller, so I looked after the whole floor in one of the Croydon stores, and then I joined World Duty Free, and I started in Heathrow. I did a number of terminals in Heathrow, and then I also worked in Stansted Airport, and finally I'm here at Gatwick, which to be honest is great. Gatwick's a great airport to work in. It's also my local airport, so I've got a big affinity for Gatwick as well.
And we were talking to Jess as well about the differences, because obviously getting that retail experience on the high streets and in other areas of retail can help you clearly to get a role in the airport. But what other things have young people got to watch out for that might be different working there versus the high street?
Yeah, so Jess was right. Every day is kind of different in the airport. I mean, there are similarities as well. You have to, the whole aspect of serving customers is the same in the airport. Growing sales is the same as it would be in the high street. But you have got a different type of customer, because one, they're all going on holiday, so generally you like to think that everyone is happy about that. There are some people that are anxious about going on holiday, so we are there to help that customer experience and that journey through the airport. And I think we said earlier that my store is it's called a walk-through store, so we greet every single passenger coming through the airport, just like the security teams do early on in the journey. And so we want to make that experience as great as possible. But that is a captive audience, which you don't really get in the high street. So we have a kind of like a responsibility to make it as a great experience for them, but also gives us a great commercial opportunity to try and sell products to them.
So let's give the young people a bit of a reality check here as well, because retail is hard work, isn't it? Whatever way you do it. And so what sort of hours of work are you expected to do from the off? You know, what sort of days of the week would you be working, for example?
Okay, so I do a slightly different job. Like Jess said, we're open from 4 o'clock in the morning all the way through to about 10 o'clock at night. And in summertime, the operation is virtually 24 hours. The good news is, everyone, you don't have to work 24 hours a day. So we do shift work. So I have my managers in from 4 o'clock in the morning. Generally, they work from about 4 till 1 or 2 in the afternoon. And then I have an afternoon shift. They'll pick up from about 1 or 2 all the way through till 10 o'clock. That's how we operate the business hours. For me, I work weekends, so you will have to expect to work weekends. But I have to say that's a really enjoyable experience, because working weekends is an opportunity to get onto the shop floor and interact with loads of the customers and the team. So it's a great time to do that. And then my hours, I work around 8 to 5, something like that. But retail is hard graft, so it's never that amount of time. I always work longer hours because I want to, and it means that I can get more out of my job. So I'm generally in about 7:30, and I leave about 6, something like that. That's my usual day.
So Andy, just final couple of questions really. In your role as manager, you clearly see a lot of applications. You probably interview quite a number of young people who want to join the airport. What advice can you give this morning to make those applications successful? What do you see that you think, I want to see that person, for example? Yeah,
so I do a lot of the interviewing for the first appointed managers. We normally have a company that will sift through all CVs. So having a good CV is your sort of like entry into World Duty Free and any retail job. So make sure your CV is really clear, sharp, normally only two sides of a piece of paper is all you need, but make sure that we get an idea around your education, your experience, and what type of person you are. So once that's been filtered, I sort of pick up the CV, and what I look for is people who have got really good interpersonal skills. So when I interview them, I get to see what they're going to be like on the shop floor, how they would interact with customers, how they would interact with the teams, how can they encourage the teams to do the best on the shop floor. That's kind of what I look for. There are other things, kind of like attention to detail or curiosity to sort of look around corners and find solutions to problems. And that's really difficult to assess in interviews. So probably a tip that I can give everybody in interviews is it's your moment to shine an interview. The person on the other side of the table doesn't really know you at all. So share as much as you can in an interview. Be as honest and open about yourself, because that's all you can be. If the person on the other side, if I'm on the other side of the table and I don't like you, it doesn't mean that you're bad. It just means that it wasn't right for this business, and you will be really special in another business. So all you can be is yourself, but showcase what you can do and your potential.
That's great advice, Andy. Thank you for that. And I'm sure that's really sunk in when you're talking to young people about what they can do. And like you say, it's not a failure, is it? It's just not the right fit. That's
yeah,
right, exactly.
and likewise, it's the same for the candidate. Make sure that you're judging the employer as well, because you want to make sure that it's the right job for you. Just because you've applied for the job, you want to make sure it's the right fit for you and the right company for you as well.
Great. We're just going to finish off, and this has been brilliant, and thank you so much, both of you, for your time. But Andy, I just want to ask you, and it's kind of based on the question from Kay Vince, who came through this morning about what's the best part. So I'm going to ask you, what's been the most memorable moment so far at Gatwick Airport for you personally?
Oh, okay.
I'm sure
okay, so last. Yeah, I've got it. Do you know what? I've got some funny ones, and I got some like business ones. So the business one is probably we had one of our most successful years last year in the airport. I think we Jess will know it. We had a really successful year, both in terms of the sales. We overcome some adversaries. You must have heard of the drones that affected the performance in Christmas week. But in the face of all of that, we did incredibly well. So I'm particularly proud of my team for their contribution towards that. And I think that's probably the best experience that I've had is turning the performance around in Gatwick South, which is my terminal. And then I've also had some funny experience where I've had customers coming through the store, and they just have fun with us, and they're cheeky with all of the teams. Our teams are take it in the spirit, and we just had some great moments on the shop floor where we interact with some of our passengers. It's been a really good year.
That's great. It sounds like a lot of fun as well as hard work, which is been really insightful this morning, that you guys do have some fun, because you've got to have some fun, I suppose, in any role. But obviously you have to, you put the hard work in, and again, you're going to be successful, as you clearly have, both of you, in your careers by taking on that culture. Look, as I said, great to meet you both, and thank you for your time this morning on Learn Live. Thank you also to the schools for your questions. We are going to be doing this again in March, where we've got a big event called Gatwick Live coming up, so watch out for details on that. And as always, a copy of this will be sent out to the schools in a couple of days' time, so you get a chance to watch it back. In the meantime, thank you so much to both of you again, and enjoy the rest of your day. Take care now.
Thanks very much. Bye.